Hello and welcome to the Orange and Steel podcast. I am your host, HME, and today we'll be talking about navigating motherhood as a career woman. We'll be talking about balancing ambition with motherhood, the highs and the struggles, and everything in between. To discuss this with me is Morayo Adisa. She's a devoted mom to a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old. She's navigating this season with grace, and today she's here to share her journey, insights, and tips for other working moms. Hello, Morayo. Welcome to the Orange and Steel podcast. Thank you for being here with me today. And as you know, today we'll be talking about navigating motherhood and your career. But just before we dive in, can you introduce yourself to us?
Hi everyone, Amy. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm Morayo Adisa. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, and I'm also a career woman. I work as Mastercard's Public Policy Director for West Africa. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So we'll just dive right in, right? So the first question is, what was your initial reaction when you first found out you were going to be a mom, especially as a career woman? From that angle, what was your initial reaction?
Gratitude was the first reaction.
Mm.
But then obviously thinking about how to then balance this new me, with other parts of me. I wouldn't say anxiety, but there was a lot of thought around how would this work out.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time when I was pregnant with my first child, I was working as technical assistant to the CEO of a very busy organization. So that was quite a tasking job that I had and a very interesting one. I enjoyed doing it. So I also, was a bit concerned about how, maybe perhaps I would have to double down, or no, not double down is not the word, but sort of reduce, shed off some weight in order to take on this new responsibility. But again, I just said to myself, you know what, we'll take it one day at a time. Let's keep going. We'll take the decisions when we arrive, at those points. And so really that was it. I refused to overthink it. I just said, let's take it one day at a time. That was really my reaction to it.
And honestly, that was like the right decision, if you ask me. And then just following up with that, so how did you prepare mentally, emotionally, and professionally for motherhood?
I think I should just say now that there's no preparation that would ever be enough.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
There's no preparation that would ever be enough. Like, I'm a planner generally.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of even preparing for the baby's arrival, I was planning ahead of time. I'm not one of those people who like to be surprised by gender. I wanted to know right from the start once the doctor could be able to tell. Why? Because I needed to shop ahead. I needed to plan things. I didn't want any gender reveal type of surprise.
Yeah.
I wanted to know right there and then because of planning. So yeah, I'm a planner, but it's not everything that you can plan.
Of course.
You plan the ones that you can plan, and then some things will just, go in the direction that they want to go or the Lord has ordained them to go. And so in terms of preparing from a home front, preparing the house, shopping, stocking up and all of that, that's easy to do. On the job front, the good thing is, I had a very good working relationship with my boss. And so he was like, you know what, that's no problem. Take the time that you need. And so I just worked up until, a few weeks to the baby's arrival. And then I took my maternity leave from then on. And with the job that I had, it was really flexible, honestly. Even when 3 months was officially over, I was still able to work from home if I had to work, and my schedule was still really very light. So I had my baby in August, and I didn't have to do any serious work function until early December. And so that really gave me some time to adjust to motherhood. And when I say adjust, there's no full adjust. There's no moment of, I have now adjusted to my routine, because the baby's routine just keeps changing. But basically it gave me some time to catch my breath. And even when I did have that work function and other things after, my schedule was still really light. So that was helpful. So I would say that I was blessed to have that good work relationship and that good work environment that made things easier for me. And I'm not taking it for granted that everybody has that, but that's my own story. And then also on the home front, I would say take advantage of all the support that you are able to get.
Yes.
So my mother was very much on hand to help with the baby, the first child and the second child. And she's still with me at this moment, really. So, take advantage of all the support that you get. You can never do it alone. You can never, you know, burden everything on yourself all by yourself, emotionally and physically. And as well, if you have a partner, if you have a husband, let them do the work as well. Let them
Yes.
share the load. Don't feel like it's only you that knows how to do it. And also let people do things their own way. Don't try to, get everyone to do it your
Interfere.
way.
Okay.
You have your way of doing things, but trust that the Father has their own way of doing things. Overall, important goal is that everybody cares about the baby, everybody cares about the home, and everybody cares and supports you to still pursue your career goals. So that's really my story, and that's been my experience, and I'm very
Thank you for sharing that. Why I asked about the mental preparations, but because a lot of people get excited about having kids, but until they get in there, they don't know like the work involved. And so I just wonder if people prepare mentally for it, emotionally, because it can actually take its toll on you. And then I think it's usually helpful for people to prepare and all of that. So that's why I was asking it, which also brings me to my next question. Like, what were your biggest fears or concerns about balancing both roles? I don't know if it crossed your mind when you were having a child. Like, I mean, and it's beautiful. Like, something you've said now is how your organization, made it very flexible for you and all. And you're right, not everybody has that, but that's your story. But it's a great story because some people do have. But I wonder if you had fears at all and concerns about how you were going to balance both roles at the beginning.
So, people tell you, be radio, you're not going to get enough sleep, be radio, this and that. And then you get, Google is your friend. Google is also not your friend because expectations are set sometimes. You feel like, okay, at some point in time, this baby will begin to sleep through the night, and so I can get some good sleep. My second baby is 8 months, and he's still not sleeping through the night. Some people, their babies start sleeping through the night at 6 months. That's good for them. But my baby's still not sleeping through the night, and I still have to wake up 2 or 3 times, at night to nurse him.
Wow.
So there's no mental preparation that will ever be enough. How did I prepare? I read books. I sort of took in a lot of information. I listened to other people's stories. And I also had my own conversations with God about what my story would be
Yeah.
and what I wanted my story to be as well. Did the story go exactly how I wanted it? Maybe not. But did it all work out for my good? I would say yes. So you can plan, you can prepare. So I prepared myself. There's this book, I can't remember what it's called, but I think Supernatural Births, talking about how
Yeah.
to sort of mentally and spiritually prepare
Mm-hmm.
for each free delivery and all of those things. And I did read it, and I feel like I did believe. But when it was time to have my baby, she wasn't going to come that way. We eventually had to have an emergency CS. That's not something I mentally prepared for. That wasn't something that I expected. So in that moment when they said we have to go to theater, I could have been anxious, but I didn't even have enough time to be anxious because everything was moving so fast. And why I said I could have been anxious was because, like I said, it wasn't in the plan, it wasn't in the script that I discussed with God, it wasn't in any part of my desire to have a C-section in the first place. So for me, what I've learned to do is take each turn as it comes.
Yes.
Don't try to anticipate what's ahead of the corner, what's at the bend. Don't try to, just relax, take each turn as it comes. Take the sleepless nights as they come. Don't anticipate it too much. Because what I've found really is that mindset is 70% of the battle. It's 70% of the struggle. So if you put yourself in, oh my God, this is going to be a hard type of mindset, then it's likely going to be hard. And I'm not saying it's easy. I mean, I have a toddler,
Of course, of
2 year old,
course.
and an 8 month old baby. So I really know, how crazy, for the want of another word, it could be. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I would honestly say don't anticipate the struggles, don't anticipate the nightmares, the sleepless nights, don't anticipate the crying baby that, don't anticipate any of that. Yes, we are inundated with it on social media. We see it all the time, but don't anticipate it.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, that, and when I'm saying that, I'm not saying don't be prepared in any way, but don't, because sometimes the anxiety is going to come up, that this situation is going to come upon you, is worse than the
Yeah.
situation itself. So I would honestly say preparation. Yes, have your conversations with yourself. I talk to myself a lot, so I have conversations with myself, have conversations with your family, have conversations with God, and then, as much as possible, pre-shop, pre-prepare food and all of that for yourself. And if you have people who can support you, lean on them, and also respect their autonomy to do things in their own way. Don't try to micromanage people. So that's really what I would say in terms of preparation. And on the career side, honestly, I think I made my peace with myself that this might cost me something in terms of time.
Yeah.
I may have to slow down a little bit because I'm raising two great human beings, who will go on to do great things in this world. And so that's an important job that I have. And
Of
so will
course.
some of my career goals and aspirations have to take the back burner a little bit for some time? Yes, I made my peace with that okay, I may not be able to run as fast as I want to on the career front, but it's only for the time being. It's only for a short while. It's not a permanent situation. But this is me saying what I was thinking in my head. HME, you know my story. I don't think that really that has actually been the story. In as
Yeah.
much as I was prepared for the slowdown, I've not necessarily had a slowdown. How I'm doing it, how it's happening, how it's working together, how I'm able to. I honestly can't give an answer, but what I would say is just taking each day and each moment and each opportunity as it comes. So that's really it on my side.
That's great. That's great. I think I love the way you've managed it so far. And one of the things I love that you said is it's a mindset thing, like the way you decide to think about it and to work on it is dependent on you. So how do you want it to happen? It's not going to be easy either way, but you can choose to enjoy the process and just manage it the way it comes to you. So that's really great. Walk us through a typical day in your life. Like, how do you juggle work and parenting? Just walk us through it. That's a typical day. Yeah.
A typical day in my life.
Mm,
Okay. So let's talk about today.
okay.
Actually, let's talk about yesterday. So, so let's talk about my typical day. Yeah. I typically try to wake up. So I have two alarms set. One is for 5 a.m. and one is for 5:30 a.m. So I need to be up at the very latest 5:30 on most days. On some days, I can push it till 6. And the reason is because it will really depend on the preparation from the day before. And so I'll explain what my task is. My daughter goes to play school and she resumes by 8. When I go to work, the days that I go to the office, I work 2 days from the house and 3 days in the office. The days that I go to the office, I resume at 8:30 and I drop her off in school because her school is really close by to my office. So we have to leave for 7, latest 7:15 thereabout. So I'm trying to work backwards in terms of my assignment. So now I need to prepare her food for school, her lunch. So that's the reason why I wake up 5:30 or 6, because I need to cook for her and pack her lunch. My mom is here, so my mom will give her a bath and dress her up. So I don't need to worry about dressing her up. So I just need to worry about preparing her food and getting my own self ready to go to work. So that's it. Then we're out of the house and I drop her off at school and I go to the office. So 8:30 till say 5:30ish, I'm in the office working. And then I do the commute back home. Once I get home, I always say to people that, look, once I step in the door, I'm resuming another job. I literally drop my bag in the study and then I go straight to my room, wash my hands, change my clothes, and then to the kitchen. Now, it may not be to the kitchen, it may be to nurse my baby. It's one of those two things I'm going. So if he's awake when I come in, he's already like, yay, mommy, carry me, mommy, feed me type of thing. He's not hungry. He's probably just been fed with Zemo or something. But just the fact that he hasn't seen me all day, he wants to nurse.
Yeah.
So there's that assignment that is waiting for me. If it's not that assignment, then there's, I have to make dinner. And dinner doesn't have to be something cumbersome. It might be boiled rice, the stew or something.
Yeah.
And then you have to start winding down the house, which is putting kids to bed. That means bath times, and then last meal. So my daughter has something she drinks to bed, so you make that for her. And then cleaning up the house or tidying up the kitchen to reset for the next day. So that really is it. Sometimes all of these tasks can take longer than some other times. depends on, so like if today I made some food for her that she didn't take all of it to school and there's some leftover that she can take tomorrow. And that means that tomorrow I can wake up at 6. So
Okay.
that's why I said, I wake up 5:30, I wake up 6, really depends. Because I can wake up at 6 because then I don't really need to cook. I just need to prepare the lunch bag. So cut the fruits, pack the food, and all of those things, the snacks. So that really is my typical day. I mean, what happens in the office is another story entirely. Some days
Of
it's a
course.
lot, some days it's light, but that's really the snapshot of the day.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. But I wanted to ask a question about cooking. Do you cook every day you get home, or have you found other ways to manage that?
No, I don't cook every day I get home.
Okay.
Sometimes there's like leftover from the day before that we can just heat up and have for dinner. And sometimes there is I mean cooking is relative. When you say cooking, I mean if boiling rice cooking, is that what you're asking? Like just give me
No, so I mean, whenever cooking is what I'm just saying is, I mean, I know you get busy when you get back, but I was just wondering if cooking is something. So for me, I wouldn't really say boiling rice is
yes,
cooking.
it's
Yeah, but I
not
just wanted to
managed.
find out, do you already have like food
Yeah, of
you've
course.
cooked already? Do you have someone that helps
Yes.
you cook sometimes and you
I
store and
order soups. I order soups, girl.
great.
Like
Okay, so that's what I was trying to find.
no way. So I order soups, and then so what do you have to do? Make eba, make amala, make lafu, make rice. Those types of
So that
things.
makes your life
And then
easier.
yes, exactly. You have to pre-cook. That's you. How do you get home at almost 7, 6:30ish to 7, and have to start cooking? Some days, yes, obviously.
Mm,
Some days, yes. Yesterday I had to make stew, so I just said, "Oh, please help me bring out the meat from the
okay.
freezer before I get home." So the meat was stored, and I boiled it in the pressure cooker, which takes a shorter time than regular boiling. And then I was able to make the stew. I had to make stew because there was no stew, but that's yesterday. Today I don't have to make stew because I made stew yesterday. So I just probably gonna make rice, and there's a four,
Yeah.
there's a goosey, there's ofada, all sorts in the freezer. So no, 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 no way. I don't cook every day like that. Yeah.
That'll be a lot. Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, what has been the hardest part of managing both responsibilities? Like, have you had moments that made you question if you could handle it all? Have you had those moments? Just walk us through, like, what's been the hardest part of managing both responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very important question. And
Mm,
that's because by nature, I don't cut my coat according to my size in terms of taking on responsibilities. I feel like I'm superhuman.
mm-hmm.
Not that I feel like I don't know, as in I just say, oh, yes, 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 don't worry, I'll get that done. Don't worry, I get that done. That type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten to a point where, I've accepted responsibility. And this is not even work. So again, to confess on this on this Orange and Steel podcast, I have work, I
Mm-hmm.
have family, and then I have projects. So this
Okay.
is project now. And I'm like, Morayo, how in the world do you start a new job, have a baby, and then you go and take another project on? How? How are you going to get all that done? And I'm just like, how do you accept this And the thing with me is, I give my word. I really hold myself to my word. So because I've given my word now, I'm struggling so much, or I was, because now I've made my peace with it. So that's the other thing.
Mm,
Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for falling short or falling below your own standards. So at some point, I said to my husband, I'm going to have to call these guys and say, I can't do this thing anymore. I'm sorry. And he said, well, I don't think you should do that because you already committed, number one. Number
mm,
two, there was a reason why you committed. This was something that you really wanted to do. So let's see how, we can still get this done. And so, yes, so I do have those moments, to be honest. But the thing that I'm trying to do in terms of navigating that is also learning how to buy time back. So, and I'll give you an
mm-hmm.
example. For 2 weeks, I got a driver. And the reason why I got a driver is because I had this project that I was working on. And I said to myself, I don't get to do it at home, but I can use my commute time to do
Mm,
it. But I can't do that if I'm driving myself. So let me have somebody drive me so that while I'm commuting, going to work and coming back, I can get some of it done. And so that's really, how I've navigated that particular situation when I faced it. But I've also learned to forgive myself for falling below my own standards in terms of what I can get done, what I can do, and what I cannot do. And that was a learning moment for me as well, to allow myself
yeah.
to step back, to allow myself to shed some weight because I've carried on
Exactly.
an important weight and important responsibility to just allow myself let something opportunities go. Like, "Oh, it's okay. I mean, we'll catch it up later." So that's really it. Yes, I
Okay.
question myself. Can you do all
Mm.
of this? And
That's
sometimes
good.
the answer is not yes. Sometimes the answer is no. You
Yeah.
just have to embrace that no and say it's no. Yeah.
And it's a good, in fact, you need to, at this point in your life, learn how to say no because
Yeah.
a lot more is happening. You need to just know, okay, this is what I'm doing now, how to manage your time, and, just know when to say no, what to take up, what to dump. But I'd love you to even throw more light on managing your time because you did mention something about time. So what are some practical ways you manage time effectively between work, your family, and even your personal well-being? Just how have you been able to manage your time? I know that sometimes it can be tough with time management.
Time management between all of these things. So, when they say work-life balance,
Hmm.
I don't know that that's, and for me, when I was thinking about this concept of work-life balance, two
Yeah.
things came to mind. What balance are we talking about? Are we
Hmm.
talking about, a ledger balance, or are we talking about a scale balance? If it's a scale balance, you picture that scale where you put something on one side and the scale goes high
Hmm.
up on the other side, just because that thing you put on one side is so heavy. And then, so there's that imbalance, right?
Yeah.
If it's that, I don't know that it's possible to achieve work-life balance on that type of scale. But if it's a ledger, if it's an accounts balance that we're talking about, some days you debit, some days you credit. So eventually, over time, it may balance out, right? So
Hmm.
that means that I don't, and so I'd rather use an account ledger type of scenario
Yeah.
to consider work-life balance. Today, work may take 70% of my time and it's only 30% left for my family, children, husband, myself. Tomorrow work may take 30% and I have 70% for all those other things. So eventually it will balance out.
Hmm.
But on a day to day, I don't think that, balancing out is possible day in, day out. We just have to learn what is important on the work front. What is
Hmm.
it that, you really can't drop the ball on this? You have to give this everything. And what is it that, okay, yeah, we can push this to the back burner because on the family front, there's something that you really can't drop the ball on. So it's a give and take that happens. It's a negotiation of time that happens every day. I mean, at the moment, what I'd say at the moment is that work is at the point where when I leave the office, I can afford to leave the office.
Okay.
By that I mean I don't like go get home and then have to sit at my desk and open my computer again. Yes, I keep
Hmm.
my phone closed just in case something important comes in. But at the moment, that's the moment. Tomorrow, that may not be the moment.
Yeah.
So I've had moments where I've worked from home, but I didn't get up from the desk or I didn't shut the computer until 10 p.m. So, but in between didn't mean that I didn't attend to some of the things on the family front in between, but that was that day.
Hmm.
So it's really I can't give a hard and fast rule and say, oh, this is how I do it. It's really a day to day negotiation between all of these competing demands.
I think you've actually given us a way, but because from what you've said, I can see that you've learned to set boundaries to ensure you're present at home while you're still excelling at work. So there's already a good balance. Like you're not, work is not overwhelming you every single day where you don't have time for your family or for home, and then your family is not taking the whole of your time where you don't have time for work. So I think you've been able to set the right boundaries in terms of work and how to manage a family, and I think that's what I'm hearing you say, and I think it's a good one. So well done. Well done with
Thank
what you've
you.
done so far.
Thank you. I didn't. Thank you. Let's take that. I'll take it. Thank you.
So this brings me to my next question. Do you think workplaces are truly supportive of working moms? And if not, what needs to change or what could be better? I know you've had like a lot of good experiences from your past, but I'm just saying generally, what do you think? Are they supportive, truly supportive of working moms?
So this is a really tough question because
Hmm.
it's it's workplace. It varies workplace to workplace.
Hmm.
And so from my own experiences, I think also it's more a question of relationships as well and trust
Mm-hmm.
that your employer has in you to deliver. So if some workplaces are flexible, and I think that's great. I've worked in places that are flexible, and that has been helpful for me. But I think also on the employee side, you have to earn trust.
Hmm.
I think you have to earn trust. In terms of, we'll talk about structures.
Yeah.
This is not a structure conversation. Workplaces, there are definitely structures that workplaces can put in place to be more supportive. But there are also, it's just like work from home, for example.
Mm-hmm.
In my former job, I used to work from home right from 2020, which was 2 years before I had my first child. So and how did I come to start working from home? I worked from the office for 3, 4 years before that.
Okay.
But there was already that trust that regardless of where Mariah is, she would deliver. So that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying about earning that trust. And my work would not suffer because, I'm choosing to prioritize something else
Mm.
in the moment. I would still find a way to get it all done. So that's on the trust side. So I think the employees have, a role to play in earning that
Yeah.
trust. But organizations also have a role to play in terms of putting structures in place. For example, right now I'm a nursing mom and I have to, during the day, I don't have to do this because of my own peculiar situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, typically nursing moms have to, find a way to express milk during the day if they want to keep the nursing going for a long time. Otherwise, your supply will stop. And so, can organizations have a place for nursing moms to do that?
Mm.
In private without having to go to the bathroom or go to their cars or go somewhere else, so that's one thing. I'm not saying that I'm leaving the office, but I need to do this while I'm in the office. Organizations make room for that. That's a conversation that needs to be had. And perhaps there are organizations who do it. I also hear that there's some organizations that have like a daycare or something for
Yeah, some actually do.
people who have to bring their kids in. So that's also a great example of trying to help women balance, that role that they have as mothers and, the career goals that they have. I think also organizations that give paternity leaves that are substantial, 3 months paternity leave, that's recognizing the role that men should play in
Yes.
child care. So I think that for me, I find those organizations even more superior than the ones that try to make room for the woman, because if we have enough men who are able to support their women, then women will have a lighter burden to carry on the home front and then be able to pursue their career goals. So that really is it for me in terms of how organizations can do that very well.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. How can career women prepare for motherhood without feeling like they have to sacrifice ambition?
I'd say it really depends on what resources each person has available, to be honest. If you have a support group, if you have family that you can lean on them. So, and I'll give an example of myself. My first child was only 5 months when I had to do my first work trip after having her. This is me talking about, work being flexible. But then I had work trips. She was born August. I had to travel in January of the fall. Between then and when she turned 1, I probably had 4 other trips, And
Yeah.
this is when I'm saying travel, I mean international travel, that I'm away for days.
Hmm.
And obviously, me not going on those trips would have been some career sacrifice as well. But I could go on those trips because I had my mom, I had my husband, who were available to step in for me.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean there's no work to be done on my side. I'm on
Mm-hmm.
those trips, I'm still expressing milk, I'm traveling with, a cargo of milk and the equipment to pump and store and freeze and all of those things. There's still some assignment on your side, but the biggest headache, which is who will care for your baby while you go chase your own dreams. Lean on the support that you have. That's the honest truth. And if you don't have that support, I think that, economics call it opportunity cost. When you can't do 2 things at the same time, and that's really life. But again, you can also plan that, how can I catch up? Yes, I may slow down now, but how can I catch up, say, in 2, 3, 4 years down the line when my baby's a bit grown and I can, be more independent of the child. So I think it's really planning and really weighing your options, to be honest.
Yeah. What about there are daycares for those who don't mind.
Yeah.
There are
So as well, so there are
daycares,
those.
and
Yeah.
there are also options of hybrid work jobs these days, or even remote jobs.
Yeah.
I feel like there are options if you still want to pursue, but
Yep.
you're right. You have to really think about it, because some women will decide, they want to just stay with their kids. And thank you, Morayo. It's been great so far, but I just have one last question for you. So what do you want like career women listening to you to take away? Some are experiencing burnout, some are just starting their journey, some are thinking like, what can I do now? Where, how do I balance things out? So what is that takeaway? What's that one thing you want them to take away from this conversation?
It's not an express lane. Sometimes it's okay to slow down. Sometimes it's okay to stop. So, and forgive yourself in advance. The reason why I keep saying forgive yourself in advance is because we have expectations that we have set for ourselves. We have goals that we have set ahead of ourselves. And when we seem like we're failing at those things, we can be a bit hard on ourselves. And that's why I say forgive yourself in advance, and then allow yourself to stop. If you find that it's impossible for you to balance it, allow yourself to actually stop. I mean, I know people who've taken career gaps of 10 years, 12 years, and have come back. And so that's why I say life is not an express lane. You don't have to keep going. You can take a break. You can stop.
Yes.
And you are not stopping for frivolous reasons. You're stopping, for a very important reason of raising the next generation, of raising children that will carry forward your legacy, of raising children that would go on to be proud of what you, their mother, has achieved, of raising children whom you will set an example for. So, and I think that the work of raising kids is very important. And if our career has to take the back seat a little bit for that, it's okay. Forgive yourself in advance.
Thank you so much. That was a beautiful one. Forgive yourself in advance. I love that. And you're right. I mean, people have taken breaks, they've come back stronger, better. So if that's what you need to do now, that is good. And don't feel guilty, don't feel less, because some people begin to feel like, oh, they can't say I'm director of policy here. They're like, I'm having to take care of kids. What am I going to identify as? Just identify as who you are. Just be comfortable and confident in who you are. You're a great woman. You've done well so far. If you need to take a break, take a break. I love the way you ended it. Thank you so much for being on our podcast. And I wish you the best. Thank you for sharing your journey. And yeah, it can only get better from here. So take care. Thank you.
Very much for having me. All right. Bye.
All right.
Now. Bye.